Well, good morning. This is Scott Young and Sean Sturby, your Technical Services Manager from Optrics Engineering, and this is your weekly Optrics Insider. So we have three things to talk about as usually we do. One is interesting user loyalty, and the other is having good backups. And it's not necessarily backing up data, and there's 2 points that Sean would like to make about that, which is actually, I think, very valuable because you might, some things you might not actually think about. So let's start off, John, with user loyalty. And good morning, by the way. Sorry, I forgot to say that.
Yeah, user loyalty. So it's been reported via tweets, and then Gizmodo had an article that, and I don't know if a lot of people have this as one of their threat things that they have to worry about, but the FBI is investigating because a Russian national reportedly tried to recruit and bribe an employee to install ransomware on a company's network. They wanted to install this ransomware so that they could take data out of the network and extort money from the company. They offered $1 million US to that employee to install this malware. What was the company? Well, the company was Tesla, and they wanted to try and install malware at their Gigafactory in Nevada. The FBI is investigating, of course, so because the employee reported the attempt to their employer. That's a lot of loyalty. $1 million payday for just accidentally clicking on a link, something that could be denied. Oh, no, sorry, we got ransomware on our network. But no, in this case, the user was loyal enough that this $1 million that they were being offered was not enough inducement for them to actually install the ransomware.
That's good for Tesla that they have that loyalty. I would imagine, though, if they did accept the $1 million at some point, it's quite possible they would have been found out and they would have quickly discovered that that $1 million was not worth it. Because I'm sure there would be a whole world of pain coming their way if they had clicked it. So, but good on them that they reported it and didn't go for it. So kudos to them. All right, so let's talk about having good backups. Now, these aren't your typical backups like backing up your desktops or your servers. We're talking about services here.
Yeah, so having good data backups is definitely still important. So we're not trying to minimize that. But the question is, what would you do if you relied 100% on a particular service? And in this case, say a meeting service, since we're all working from home, and it was down. Well, last Monday, one of the busiest days as a lot of universities went back to school, the service that they were relying on, Zoom, was down, and it was down for 5 hours. What do they have as a backup plan? They've been going, we have to make plans, we have to get people online, here's the information, we went with service A, now service A is down. What would we do in a situation like that? Well, we've always had at least 2 or 3 different meeting services that we've had. Plus, there are some additional ones that you can log on to. Zoho Meet is another one that you can launch. But there's many that have been talked about recently. GoToMeeting, Google Hangouts, or Duo, or whatever they're calling it these days. The point is, have a backup plan, test the backup plan, and be ready to inform people, okay, plan A isn't working, we're going to go with plan B. Now,
actually, I'd like to add to that because I was on a call, or tried to get on a call recently, and it was done for a team, and unfortunately it wasn't. It was set up so that someone else had to be the one driving it, but they didn't turn the meeting, so we just got stuck in this loop of waiting to be added to this meeting. And so then, of course, you had to scramble and say, okay, well, let's use this link and this link. We got it ultimately figured out by using a different service and made sure that doesn't happen again. But that I think really underscores that even when a service isn't down, there could be other things that that interfere with your ability to have the meeting. So having a backup is great. Now, if you involve different people from different organizations, chances are they'll have their own meeting So between the group of people that has to meet, you can figure something out.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
definitely a good point that you made.
So the second backup point was, what if you had only one internet connection, either at work or home, and the internet went down? The reason I mention that is that this weekend, CenturyLink / Level 3 had a huge BGP issue causing a widespread outage. Now, thankfully, this one was over the weekend, but the tweets were out and about. Lots of additional services that relied on CenturyLink or Level 3 were down. Some of the reported ones were Cloudflare, Imperva, OpenDNS, Duo Security, Hulu, Spotify, lots of them. And then for quite a period of time, anybody who was a CenturyLink or a Level 3 client, they couldn't get to all of these other services. So in this case, I've got links to a bunch of different write-ups. It was an issue on CenturyLink's backbone, and it was causing issues. Now, you might not have heard of CenturyLink or Level 3, but they are a major ISP backbone provider or connector. So you would connect to a Shaw or a Telus or whoever it is, and then they would likely connect upstream to a tier 1 provider like CenturyLink. Now, we can't do anything about CenturyLink having an outage or Level 3, but at home or at our office, we can definitely have a backup or a second internet connection. And nowadays, with the WAN failover capabilities of even entry-level enterprise-grade routers, being able to run 2 or 3 internet connections at the same time and being able to automatically fail over between them is definitely something that people should think about. So a lot of home users, they only have one internet connection. We need to jump on a global meeting and our internet's down at home. We've seen that even with our own, in our own company, that we have users reporting, my internet connection is flaky or is spotty or is down. So what's plan B for that? Thankfully, most people have something like this, a cell phone, and quite often you can connect your computer, if it's a laptop with wireless, to your cell phone. But at least try it, test it, see if it works. And because your connectivity on your cell phone might not be as great in the house as when you're connected directly to a hardwired connection, you might have to make a few little modifications as to what you do. So if you're in a Zoom meeting like we are, join the meeting, but maybe not show your video, or don't show the other people's video because it uses up a lot of bandwidth. Now, the other thing, oh, sorry, Scott, you had a comment?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, or just dial in. You don't have to necessarily go through an app and use bandwidth, but often they have just phone numbers that you could dial into.
The other thing that this CenturyLink outage pointed out or showed was that a lot of these services that were reported as being down, things like OpenDNS or Cisco Umbrella, that's a web-based DNS service, and web cloud filtering. Well, if that's the only thing that you're relying on for web filtering and they're down, it's going to look to your end users like the internet is down. Or Duo Security. Duo Security is two-factor authentication for logins to both local and cloud services. If it's who you are, what you know, and something you have. Well, if the something you have, your two-factor authentication app on your phone, can't get out to the Duo Security service to get that third item, you can't log in. If you can't log in, guess what? You can't troubleshoot. You can't do anything. So any service that you have that you absolutely rely on, if they're a good enterprise grade service, like the two I mentioned, you can find a status page for them. So you might not be able to web browse to the Umbrella's status page from your home computer, but you might be able to get to it from your cell phone and at least see that, oh yes, they are experiencing a problem. Now you have to have plan B.
Yeah, there's a website that is worth mentioning. It's down for everyone or just me.com. I think you've mentioned it before. I've used it before where you can't, for whatever reason you're having issues getting to it. Perhaps even recently for me, it was our bank website. And so you aren't sure if it's an issue on your end, or if you want to know if it's down for everyone, just go to down for everyone or justme.com, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes if you want to check it out. And it'll tell you if it's just you or if it's a system-wide problem. Cool. All right. Anything else you'd like to mention?
No, it's been a busy weekend and time to get back to work.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks, Sean, as always. So, of course, if you enjoyed this content and you'd like to share it, please do. You can like, share, and subscribe through whichever venue you're watching this. And please also leave a comment. We'd love that. But other than that, have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.